If you're thinking about entering vet school, stop and watch this first. There are so many things that I wish someone had told me before I started. Things that would save me money, stress, and most importantly, time. From brutal exams to surprising realities about working with animals, these are the things that I wish I knew before I entered vet school. What's poppin', y'all, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, what's up? My name is Roque. I'm a fifth-year veterinary student studying here in the University of the Philippines, Los Baños, and part-time content creator. And today, I'll be revealing everything that I wish I knew before starting this journey of VetMed. The good, the bad, and the downright unexpected. So if you're thinking about entering vet school or are just curious about what it's like, then make sure to stick to the end because some of it might surprise you. So the first thing that I wish I knew sooner is the fact that it's not just about loving animals. You see, everyone thinks that vet school is just about cuddling puppies and saving animals dramatically. And while that may be true at times, what standard media doesn't tell you is the fact that VetMed is actually more about dealing with humans than animals. Yeah, kinda sucks, right? Most of the time throughout your journey in vet school, you'll actually primarily be working with classmates and teachers. In fact, now that I think about it, majority of vet school is actually spent attending lectures, sleepless nights studying, and you actually don't really get to work with animals until like your fourth year. And it doesn't end in vet school. Once you graduate and are in practice, majority of your time will be dealing with clients, with farmers, and even the other people that you work with, like the vet techs or the other business partners that you might have. It's just a lot of people, not really ideal for an animal lover. But it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So my personal advice would be to work on your communication skills just as much as your animal handling skills. And the next thing that I wish I knew beforehand is the fact that you're gonna be broke. Like really, really broke. And I'm not even talking about tuition. Many universities around the world cost thousands of dollars per semester. And even though I study in a state university in the Philippines where tuition is free, well, for first degree holders, unlike myself, tears. There are so many other unforeseen expenses that are gonna start coming your way. From books to scrubs to surgical and laboratory supplies, it all adds up. And for context, I just took my small animal surgery class last semester and spent 8,000 pesos alone. So imagine what it's like for your other classes as well, and it all really just stacks up. So not only will you be overworked, you will also be broke.
MC Hammer broke!
That's why it's important to budget wisely, apply for scholarships if you can, and prepare to live like a broke college student for a while. And for a while, I mean 6 years. Another thing that I wish I knew before entering vet school is just how intense the workload actually is. Now, imagine studying medicine, microbiology, pharmacology, pathology, parasitology, surgery, all at once, and for 9 different species. Kinda crazy. It's true when they say that vet school is like drinking out of a fire hose with info being thrown at you at 1,000 kilometers per hour and it never stops. This actually makes me remember last year during finals week, I had 9 exams in 5 days. And these were finals, right? So this is your last chance to salvage your grade. And honestly, I was like, how do you even study for that? That's like more than or about 2 exams per day. But thankfully, to the big Lord and Savior, I made it through. And that's thanks to the systems and habits that I built. So I'd strongly advise to prioritize learning how to learn, finding a study group or an organization like I did, and to prioritize your mental health, honestly, throughout this really, really rough ride. It's important to focus on school, but honestly, you can't really focus on school if the machine, which is yourself, is broken. So prioritize on finding things that keep you sane. And it doesn't always have to be drinking, but it certainly helps sometimes. So if you want to learn more about how I survived 5 years of vet school, then make sure to hit that like and subscribe to join me on this journey. Now, another thing that I wish somebody told me is that while you might love animals, the animals might not feel the same way about you. When working with animals, you often have to handle them and touch them all over their body and even inject them, which the animals more often than not do not like. So remember, while your objective is to save the animals, they don't know that. Some of them will bite, kick, scratch, and do anything to get out of that situation. And I've had my fair share of those scary moments, and for sure, if you enter vet school, you will as well. Last semester, during my small animal surgery class, my entire arm was honestly like a tattoo just because of how many scratches and bite marks that I had. And it was pretty brutal, but kind of a rite of passage for me. I don't know, kind of weird, but maybe it's just me. Comment down below if you kind of like getting these weird scratches and, tattoos from the animal patients that you have. So my personal advice would be to get comfortable with the animal restraint methods early on and practice them on your pets with the pets that know and trust you already, so that by the time that you actually have to restrain them, you'll be a veteran at that point. Now, another thing that I did not really expect is that vet school is more about medicine than the animal kingdom. Now, what do I mean by this? When I first entered vet school, I actually thought that I would be learning more about species, the diet, how different species differ from one another, and of course, their behavioral mechanisms or what makes them unique. And while that is true up to an extent, vet school actually focuses more on domestic animals. These domestic animals are your dogs, cats, pigs, cows, chickens, goats, sheep, horse, and I guess ducks and other poultry fall into this category as well. And instead of diving deep into behavior and traits, we actually focus more on how the body works, how different diseases present themselves, how to manage and take care of the animals, and most importantly, how to treat the animals. And I mean, this makes sense, right? If you actually want to become a vet, your job will be to save animals, not necessarily know all of the fun facts about them. So before you enter vet school, make sure that you're ready for a lot of chemistry and physiology, because that's truly the bulk of what we learn. Now, the next thing I wish someone told me is that hands-on experience is more valuable than grades. Again, hands-on experience is more valuable than grades. I'm actually grateful that I knew this beforehand because someone had told me prior. So once I got into vet school, I immediately prioritized that. So I made sure to volunteer at as many clinics, at many rabies vaccination drives, as many spay and neuter campaigns as I possibly could to enhance my practical skills. So much so that by the time I actually reached the point in vet school where I was graded for these practical skills, I had already done it so many times and I was way ahead of my peers. You see, straight A's doesn't necessarily make you a great vet. Real world experience does. And more importantly, in my opinion, real world experience gives you an insight of which field to pursue and, honestly speaking, if vet med is actually for you. I made an entire video about my experience volunteering at a clinic, which you can find right here. So my advice would be to volunteer, intern, and to take every opportunity to work with real animals. Now, the last thing that I actually wish I knew before entering vet school is the fact that vet school is truly a roller coaster filled with highs and lows. The reality is, no matter how smart you are, no matter how much experience you've had, vet school will break you, challenge you, and push you to your limits. But it will also give you some of the most rewarding times of your life. I honestly can't even count the number of times that I would break down, doubt myself, and feel like I've reached my limit. However, I can confidently say with all my heart that each time I broke down, each time I pushed harder when I thought that I couldn't go anymore and push new limits, I came out a stronger person. Every time that I would conquer that hurdle, every time that I would pass an exam that I had no business passing at all, it gave me confidence to not only keep on going, but the confidence of feeling like I belong. So my final advice would be to surround yourself with supportive and like-minded individuals. Push yourself to be better every single day, even if that means by only 1%. And when the going gets tough, remind yourself of why you even started. Because I promise you, at the end, it will all be worth it. So, if you're thinking about entering vet school, now you know what to expect. I really wish that somebody had told me this beforehand. So, if you learned something new today, then make sure to drop a like and subscribe, as it really helps me out. And if you want to learn about the deadly mistakes and regrettable mistakes that I made in vet school, then make sure to check this video out. And as always, I'll see you all in the next one. Deuces!